Welcome. This is Chris Sullivan, that's me, and I work for Trend Networks, and we're going to talk about infrastructure and bandwidth today. Okay? So, let's get this going. First of all, we're going to start off with a few questions. Okay? What is bandwidth? Why is it important? Okay? What's driving the demand for bandwidth? Okay? Then, how do you measure it to determine what is enough? And then at the end is evaluating the infrastructure. And that's whether or not you're an end user or you're a contractor. This is really important on both sides. What is bandwidth? It's really the amount of data that you can pass from point A to point B in a certain amount of time. So just think, if you're driving from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia and you're on the highway, it's 4 lanes in each side, and the number of cars that gets from one point to the other in the amount of time. Okay? The number of vehicles that reaches that destination, that is your bandwidth. Okay? Bandwidth versus speed. Speed's always important, but you can have the fastest network in the world, except what you receive doesn't look good. Or you get 8 out of 10 pages. It gets there fast, but the last 2 pages are unreadable. You need to make sure that your bandwidth can keep up. Fast is only part of the equation. Having the right data and having it complete is very important. Why is the bandwidth important? If you're adding new technologies, and I'll get into some of those in the future, Wi-Fi, video conferencing. Raise your hand if you've been on a Zoom meeting in the last 2 years. Oh, come on, that's all of you. We have all been on the Zoom meeting. So now video conferencing is part of our everyday lives. So that takes more bandwidth than just sending an email, okay? Efficient transfer of data. Again, you want all of your data to get there in readable, usable condition. Idle time. I did a little formula here at the bottom just to kind of give you an idea. A typical person using the internet, let's just say they have to wait 10 seconds for a video to upload or for a document to pull up, okay? If you're on the Schaedler Yesco website looking at product that you want to order, okay, but it takes some time to bring up, let's just say you have 10 seconds of delay times 10 times a day, and that's one person. Multiply that by the number of work days, 264 work days a year, okay? Multiply that by the number of employees. So I did a little formula here. 10 seconds per delay, 10 times a day, times 264 days, times a small company, 25 employees. When you take all those seconds and add it up, that's 183.3 man hours per year lost to just staring at a screen. So if you think about it, if you can cut that in half, that's what your bandwidth can do for you. If you want to upgrade from 5E to 6, or from Cat 6 to Cat 6A, think about the cost of what the expenses are for your employees for one day. Then multiply it by the number of days, work days in a year. If you have a faster network, it will pay for itself when you have people that are able to look at their network and do their tasks much quicker. So, what's driving the demand for bandwidth? Okay, CCTV cameras, now they're HD, they're 4K. Okay, more bandwidth that you need. Okay, Wi-Fi 6, you have wireless access points. Everybody's gonna be on their phone. Okay, everyone here, I assume, has a smartphone, right? And how much do you wind up looking at that? How many times are you watching videos and you're getting information? Someone is sending you documents. Someone is sending you blueprints. I need this now, okay? So Wi-Fi, the faster your Wi-Fi, the faster you want to get your information, okay? Video streaming, okay? We're all watching videos. We're all seeing what's going on, whether it's be the news or it's business related. And of course, video conferencing, Zoom meetings. Everybody's on a Teams meeting, a Zoom meeting. Again, more bandwidth that's being taken up. You know, these are all the type of tasks that people are doing at the same time during the day. And each one of them is collecting and taking more bandwidth that you need, which is slowing everyone down. Now, the cable requirements and standards, you essentially have the ability to go with different standards. Let's say you have an infrastructure right now that's category 5E. Okay? That's good up to 100 meters. But now if you want to go to, let's say, 10 gigabit, that standard is category 6A at 100 meters. It's not even available on Cat 5. Cat 6 is 55 meters. So you're looking at your standards and you want to improve your infrastructure, you have to look at what you have there. You may be able to use your Cat 6A cable and not have to upgrade, but you have to look at your distances. If you're at 90 meters, it's not going to work. You're not going to get 10 gigabit. You could get 5 gigabit. That should be plenty, as long as you're increasing your bandwidth. Most companies now use gigabit Ethernet or 100 base T when you're looking at automation. So if you want to take the next jump to multi-gigabit and add multi-gigabit switches, you have to do the calculations. What is your cabling going to handle? Okay. When it comes to testing your infrastructure, okay, and your bandwidth, you can use a cable certification tester, a cable qualification tester, or you can use a transmission tester. Now, we all know a cable certifier. You go out there and you certify the cables to get the warranty from the manufacturer. That's good, but it's not good for checking networks. It doesn't really do a good job of what your network traffic is going to be. The same thing with a cable qualifier. It will check basic information, but not give you what you need to see what your highway, so to speak, can handle as far as traffic. Okay? Then there's the transmission tester. That's what's recommended, because now you're actually measuring the actual traffic. How many cars, buses, and trucks can use your highway to get from point A to point B? So on the transmission side, you have two different types of testers. You have a parameter tester and an actual transmission traffic tester. The parameter test is good. It's inexpensive. It essentially takes the size of the highway. Now imagine that 8-lane highway, 4 going in each direction. It measures the size of those lanes and the distance and says, you should be able to get this amount of traffic. Okay? If you want 10 gigabit, okay, you need this much space. And it measures that space and says, given those parameters, you should be able to get 10G or not 10G. If you're using a transmission-based tester, it actually sends traffic across. Okay? Think of it this way. You're on the highway. It says the highway has been measured by an engineer. It should handle this much traffic. Okay? Again, you're going from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. Well, we all know that everybody drives the exact same vehicle and they drive it always at the exact same speed, right? No, of course not. You know? When there's a car fire on the side, no one looks, right? Of course they do. That's what slows down. Those are bottlenecks in your network. Okay? The only way you're going to get a real, true-to-life idea of what your network can handle is you have to send traffic back and forth. Okay? And that's what an actual transmission tester will do. It will send packets, similar to vehicles, of different sizes. Think about a Vespa, a SUV, a box truck, or a semi. All that different traffic is going down through your network at different speeds to get to the same point. You want to mimic that, and to do that, you have to measure two things: throughput and uptime. So, again, the parameter-based tester is a good, efficient way to say, do I have 10G or not? Okay? With a transmission tester, you're actually finding out how much your infrastructure can handle right now. Okay? It may be able to handle 5 gig, which may be perfect for you. It's an improvement over 1 gig. But if you're buying 10 gigabit switches and you're not updating your infrastructure, then the money you spent on those switches is going to be utterly useless. Okay? You want to get the speed of the electronics that you're making your investment in. Okay? So now, max throughput. What you're essentially doing is you're sending different packets of different sizes, like the SUV, like the school bus, like the semi. You're sending this traffic-wise through the system and testing what your network can handle and whether or not the larger packets will go through. Because essentially, if only some packets go through, then you're going to have a lot of errors. And if you have a lot of errors, your data will not get to you in the way that you designed it to. And you're not going to see things what you want. You're going to have incomplete documents. You're going to have video that stops. Okay? How many people like to watch a video that stops and has errors and is blurry, or the audio doesn't link up with the video? That would be no one. So getting the right amount of traffic there at the right amount of time is critical. So this max throughput test sends vehicles down your highway and says, okay, all of these different packets and these different sizes will get there all complete in this amount of time. Okay, one test down. There's also an uptime test where it tests errored seconds. Okay? And the errored seconds will determine its signal to noise ratio. If you've ever been talking to someone on the phone and there's a lot of noise in the background, if you turn the volume up, you can hear them, they're louder, but so is the noise. So it defeats the purpose. The same thing with packets. If you send packets that have noisy or they're errored, then at the opposite end, you're going to get a lot of packets that are unreadable and not useful. So the idea is you check what your errored seconds are, and you check for any errors that are going to be driven down your network. It's, again, imagine the highway and you have all these damaged cars. That's not going to do anything. You bought a brand new Porsche and someone's driving it to you and it shows up, it's missing a fender, the wheels are all flat. That's not what you're looking for. You want the data to be complete, and the more errors, the less data you're going to get. You may have a 10 gigabit system. If you're not measuring throughput and uptime, you may get 10 gig, but 5 gig of that is utterly worthless, and you're not going to get the results you need. So by using a tester, a transmission tester, that measures both of these, then you're actually seeing what your network can handle. You may have a 1 gig network right now and you want 10. You buy 10 gig switches. Well, with the right tester, you can find out if your network is going to handle that before you make the investment. And then see, okay, right now I can get 2.5 gig or 5 gig or 7.5 gig. But if you need 10 gig, you're going to have to upgrade your cabling to Cat 6A. There's no other way. So knowing that, you can make suggestions. Is to say, you know, for the bandwidth we need, this is what we're going to have to get. So you have to look at what is your desired speed and what is your desired bandwidth, and invest in the products that are going to get you. You may need to do a survey. You have a transmission test done for you, which will give you a report of what your maximum bandwidth is, what your errored seconds are. Now, you can do this before and after. You can do it before with the current infrastructure, and then you can do it again after you have everything in place. Another example is if you have a factory that does automation and you want to put in numerous HD cameras to see the process. Well, all of those cameras are going to take more bandwidth and slow your network down. What type of cabling do you need? You can run a survey on a transmission tester and see, this is how much space I have to add the cameras to. Once I get to a certain point, they're going to quit out. And it's not going to be useful. I'm going to have to get multiple switches. So this way you can evaluate whatever you have presently and design a system that'll be perfect for what you need. So, with that said, visit booth 117, Trend Networks, and we will give you a demonstration of an active transmission tester that will do uptime and throughput. So thank you very much. I appreciate everybody coming. I hope the traffic analogies worked. So I appreciate you all. Hand clap for every one of you. Thank you very much.